Hello, it's Stuart Strop with EV Practice at JD Power. EVC Monthly Pulse is our upper funnel EV shopping report. It gives us feedback from over 2,000 U.S. new vehicle shoppers every month. February Monthly Pulse just hit, and at 24.4%, the ratio of shoppers very likely to consider an EV in the next 12 months actually dropped over a point from January, and it's almost 2 points below February of last year. It's actually declined for 4 straight months. That is the longest run of falling scores that we have seen for that very likely response option since we started doing Monthly Pulse back in June of 22. There are a couple more February data points that, in the interest of EV market growth, are a little bit tough to hear. That 24.4% number is actually the lowest ratio in absolute terms that we have ever seen in Monthly Pulse for the very likely response option, although it is still above the levels that we saw in the annual studies from 21 and 22. On the other end of the shopper spectrum, very unlikely jumped almost 3 points to reach 22.2%. That is the highest number that we've seen for that response option in Monthly Pulse. So it really does seem like these key inhibitors to the mass adoption of EVs, the limited availability of affordable mainstream product, these ongoing concerns about charging infrastructure, increasingly taking their toll, despite gas prices actually inching up a little bit month over month. On charging in particular, widespread coverage of that so-called Chicago EV apocalypse in mid-January probably did not help. As a reason for EV rejection, inadequate performance in extreme temperatures shot up 8 points month over month. It's way more than we'd expect to see just from seasonality alone. Far and away the biggest move among all of the rejection reasons in the February data set. Now, among shoppers who are considering EVs in terms of model top choice, on the premium side, Tesla reigns on, occupies 4 of the top 5 spots, led by Model 3 in number 1. And then on the mainstream side, F-150 Lightning holds on to its number 1 rank. Now, I mentioned some of the rejector data already, but as far as those top rejection reasons go, at 52%, number 1, lack of charging station availability, now has a 5-point margin over the second most cited reason, purchase price. So these key challenges to EV adoption persist, especially charging, but opening up that Tesla supercharger network to other brands, which has already started now with Ford, has gotten some positive early coverage. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how that story unfolds in the months ahead. I've also been talking recently about this really remarkable correlation between shopper knowledge of EV incentives and likelihood to consider buying or leasing one. February results show us 43% of all shoppers say they do not have a good understanding of EV incentives. And this is important because among shoppers who say they have a minimal understanding of incentives, only 3.5% are very likely to consider buying or leasing an EV. But among those who say they have a strong understanding, the very likely ratio, 17 times higher at 58.7%. So it seems to be a pretty strong ROI case there for consumer education on incentives and related topics like total cost of ownership. Thank you. We'll see you next month with the March results.